if they start playing into that a lot, I think it's going to play into Hayden's hand. I mean, we've seen it over and over again. They chirp him, he gets better. He likes when his back's against the wall.
Yeah, but I also think that there's a side of Jett that's going to get better as well.
JB and AC, the energy was awesome. Those two are just like really finding their groove.
4 straight overall wins.
$100,000. Adam Cianciarulla. Checkered flag and Justin Brady.
Cianciarulla has won the 2019 Motocross Championship.
He's gonna do it to become the oldest winner in the history of Supercross.
High Point, otherwise known as the country club of motocross. JB, personally, I love to see the closest to the pin contest happening on Friday. Do you see that on social?
Yeah, do you feel like you're missing out, though?
Kind of, but I also saw Hunter Lawrence, for one, unbelievable tempo. I commented on his Instagram, his little race report. Great tempo across the board because he had a swing on there. He put the ball to like inside a foot.
Did he really?
Yeah, it's like, what can't the guy do? He's got an unbelievable golf swing. Country Club of Motocross. I always loved coming to High Point, a very technical track. And I think really in the 450 class and 250 class, more so in the 250s, I think it's really important to set the tone when the series goes east. Like, who's going to strike the first blow? So that's what I was most looking forward to this weekend. But what do you think about the track?
Look, I've always loved Mount Morris. I think it's a great track, up and down the hills. The one thing I will say is TV does not do those hills justice. They do not. They're so steep, and you're kind of turning on an off camber all the time throughout the entire day. Track changes a lot throughout the day, and I love it. I think it brings out the best in each rider as far as technique and skill-wise. The one thing that I will say, and maybe the most difficult part of Mount Morris, but also the easiest part if you can get into a flow, is when you come over all these rises and then the ruts start. Like, if you can get your angles right, and we'll talk about this, where Hunter Lawrence, his angles were incredible. So what happens, folks, is you come over these rises, these downhills, you can't see really what's on the other side. So if you jump and you miss the rut, or you cross rut a little bit, or you jump too far inside or outside and miss exactly where you want to go, it messes up the whole turn. But if you get it right, like you did so many times, AC, like Hunter did on the weekend, man, it can be such a fun track.
It's one of those tracks where almost like the mud, in that if you find a flow, it's really easy to separate yourself from the other guys. But if you're a little bit off, if you're having a bad day, it's kind of a trap because there's so much traction. You can carry so much speed down the hills into the turns. It kind of invites you to go super fast into the corner. And once you start rushing the corners there, then you have that little pause in the middle of the turn. It can go the other way super quick. But I had a lot of great memories at High Point myself. And how about the left-hand off-camber turn kind of on the far end of the track? I think it took me 5 years to figure out how to hit that corner without pulling the clutch in and leaning the body off to the right-hand side. Because it just, all those off-camber turns, they just want to stand you up. It's so difficult to kind of keep your lean angle through it.
You know what else? If you can get the tunnel jump and the left-hand rollers right, it's like a whoop section in Supercross. If you're struggling in the whoops, the whole track is a mess. If you struggle in those rollers and don't find a good groove, like you jump the tunnel over the single, kind of cut to the inside, then you double down the hill, if you get that right, the whole track comes together. But if you struggle there, gosh, I remember there's a couple years where I honestly couldn't figure it out. Like I would hit it okay every now and again, and then it just makes the whole track a mess. So that section right there is critical. And you can lose a lot of time, but also gain a ton of time in those rollers.
My favorite move at High Point was starting a little bit further inside on the start. And even if you come out of that first turn in 10th, I loved being on the left side going into that right, because you could just pretty much go wide open around the outside past 5-10 guys at a time right there. But it's super key section there. And I remember, 2002, watching RC first hit that double. It was a little bigger back in the day, or just the way it was set up. An iconic racetrack. We had some good racing, and I got to say, we weren't harsh on the Thunder Valley track prep, but I would say as a whole, I love what MX Sports and the tracks have done so far this year. It's not, they had a little rain, I think, this weekend, and it was a little deep, but for the most part, I think the way they've been prepping the tracks have made for good racing. Guys can move around a bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, if practice tells the story, which JT's done a great job of explaining that throughout Race Day Live and kind of the morning prep, what that turns into in the afternoon, the practices have been pretty good track conditions, which obviously can tend to maybe less ruts throughout the entire day, which I think is probably a good thing here and there. And I just like variety. I think that's all anyone really wants is, we went through rut cross for a long time where it's just, 3 feet deep ruts everywhere at every track, and every track was hauling in sand or mulch or sawdust and everything. It seems like now we're getting back to a little bit of just kind of natural terrain. It did get a little bit hard, in some of these off cameras, which I like. I think it creates some good technique. And the one thing that is really hard to get right, that I believe they did get right this past weekend, is putting rollers on the inside and then leaving the outside flat. I mean, how many times did Prado and Plessinger and other guys pass each other back and forth? Like, that was so much fun to watch. And it's really hard to get that right, but I think they nailed it.
Over, under, we'll get into practice and the racing here a little bit, but a little back and forth between Jett and Deegs in practice. And really the first time that Jett's kind of acknowledged Deegan so far this season, essentially. What's the over-under, take it to the end of their careers, how much money in fines are they going to cost each other? I'm going to set the over-under, I think, at $100,000. I feel like that's reasonable.
Look, I'm good with it, though. I'm good with it. Keep it coming. And look, money doesn't matter to them. They've got plenty of it. But they're, when I watch this, I'm like, finally, he acknowledges. I'm like, yes, say something. But then after I thought about it, I'm like, wait, no, what you've been doing is actually working. Just beating him on the racetrack by 20 seconds and going 1-1 every week and not saying a word. But I kind of like the little chirp back here and there. But it also plays into Deegan of what he loves. So I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50. I want to get your opinion on it. Like, I like it, but I'm like, maybe back it down a little bit.
I think the strategy in the Lawrence camp is to just not acknowledge any of it. And I think that's been pretty clear so far. They've even said, what did Jett say at Thunder Valley? What's his name? Like, they won't say the name. And they're smart enough. Of course, they both know how talented Haiden is. They know he's good. But I think that strategy is the best when it comes to Haiden, because we've seen what happens when he gets pissed off. He gets instantly better. And I think because Jett and Hunter have been kind of a step above Haiden so far this season, I think by having that engagement, I think it's going to bring Haiden up. I think right now, like Jett, he was having fun with it in the press conference, not anything overly disrespectful. Now, this is the type of chirping that I love. When the girlfriends get involved and the wives and we start getting personal, I'm out. I love this type of chirping. I do think it's going to make Haiden better, and I think for Jett and Hunter, they have so much confidence that they're a step above right now that they're not super worried about bringing Haiden up. But I think if Haiden is able to get closer, say by the end of this season, into next season, if they start playing into that a lot, I think it's going to play into Hayden's hand. I mean, we've seen it over and over again. They chirp him, he gets better. He likes when his back's against the wall.
Yeah, but I also think that there's a side of Jett that's going to get better as well. And I think where the chirping comes from is like, it is probably frustrating if you're Jett and Hunter, like, dude, we're going 1-1 every week, and like, you're not even in our league.
What are we even talking about?
Chirping, like, what are you talking about? So I think that's where it came from this weekend. Of like, dude, and when Jett's doing this, the hand gestures and stuff, it's like, dude, get out of here. You're not even in our league yet. Yeah, maybe you will be sooner or later, but stop the talking. And I don't know. I think, look, Jett is continuing to heal up from his injury. And you and I have talked about this before in private and probably on this podcast, that we both believe that this is going to bring out the best version of Jett Lawrence that we've ever seen, because Haiden is doing his thing and it's going to elevate him. Well, now I think it's elevating Hunter as well. And it's really clear that they're the two best guys. Now, this weekend, I practiced that first qualifying session. Haiden was fastest. I'm like, oh, now like he's bringing the speed. Of course, second qualifying session, Jett goes out, does his thing. But Hayden's getting better. He's getting better, moto by moto, practice by practice. I don't think he can hang with them for 30+2 right now. Maybe on certain tracks. There will be tracks this year where he's going to be able to do that. But all in all, I mean, Jett and Hunter are clearly the two best guys. And but Hayden's getting better, man. He's getting better right in front of our own eyes.
Well, and that's what we were talking about before we came on air here. At the end, towards the end of the second moto, camera went to Haiden. He was in. He just had made his way into third. I think he was 4 seconds down on Jett and Hunter. And I actually even commented something on Pro Motocross Instagram about how elite Hayden's speed was at the end of the race. And it really has nothing to do, next to nothing to do with Hunter or Jett. They're great at managing leads. They're a step above. But what I loved this week from Haiden, if you guys watched and paid attention, you would have saw the same thing. Coming into a lot of the turns this weekend, he was way lighter on the bike. You could already see the improvement in terms of efficiency. He's kind of jumping around the track, getting creative with his lines. We know how fit he is. Really, all those guys are towards the front of the field, but I love to see him in real time adapting and getting better. And I think, yes, he's still not on that level yet, but it's always fun watching guys kind of reverse engineer how to get the most out of themselves. And it's cool to watch that in real time with Haiden. Did you see the same thing?
Yeah, it's like he started to back up the turn a little bit. And then to make his, look, I worked with RJ back in the day, 2008, 2009, legend Ricky Johnson. And he used to, the turn was an ABC to him. And he came from a four-wheel, background as well. Obviously did his thing in Supercross and Motocross. Then he went to four wheels. And this is the same in four wheels. You back up your A to have your B and C be faster. And Jett and Hunter are masters at this. And when you're younger, I was taught, go into the turn as fast as you can.
Absolutely.
It's not the right way to teach. And look, we're backyard Iowa folks trying to figure out how to go faster. That's what we did, right? Well, it's actually, you want to come into the turn at a decent speed, but then your B and C want to be very fast. And Jett and Hunter, like I said, they've mastered this. And Haiden on a 250, your A can be a little bit messier because the bike doesn't move around as much. But on a 450, if your A is messy, you come into it like we talked about. I thought he had to wheelie down the hills at Hangtown more than Jett and Hunter. Now I think he's figuring out, back up your A little bit, let the bike do its thing, still come in with some good entry speed, but then your B and C really, really fast through the apex and exit of the turn. He's figuring it out, like I said, right in front of our eyes. And I love to see. He's even throughout the 30+2, learning the motorcycle, learning where to go on the track, learning what works on the 450. And it's definitely good to see. But in saying all that, I do think he was riding better. I still don't take any stock in him closing the gap on Jett late in the race.
No,
I don't take any stock in it.
Me neither. Not at all. Jett is rare in that he's very dominant. He wins a lot, but when the win isn't there, he accepts it, which I think is almost as impressive sometimes as his just dominant speed and performances. That somebody that is so used to winning, nothing else. I would imagine when you win as much as Jett, even that gets a little bit boring. So when he's getting second or third, he's really not getting that I don't know, sense of pride or whatever it is, but he's very good at keeping his ego in check. He knew he was getting second. He knew Hunter was better. But that was my point, is that Haiden is starting to adapt his riding style. And I think the way he was riding at the end of the second moto, that is the base to get to the level of Hunter and Jett. You cannot do that the way he was riding the first couple rounds, or like you're riding a 250. The base, what he's doing right now, if he just rode like that and he was still not on Hunter and Jett's level the rest of the season, that's what I want to see, because that base will allow him to potentially reach that level. But let's talk about Hunter Lawrence. I mean, my God. I think Jett comes out to Hangtown. He goes 1-1. And in my head, you just kind of assume that we're back to what we normally do. Jett's going to be going 1-1 every other weekend. It's going to be dominant. But I did think, and there is something to this, like even on the podium at Thunder Valley, Hunter, he's never one to throw the bike under the bus. And I think that's admirable. Even at times behind the scenes when I hear things that they're pretty far off, like they were at the start of Supercross a couple years ago, he's not one to really throw the team under the bus like that. But he did at Thunder Valley, said there's some things that they could work on. I thought the back end looked a little busy. And, man, whatever they did, I've never seen his bike look so good. And, of course, all credit to him and the team. But it looked so planted. In the last couple weekends, to me, there was lack of comfort kind of getting into his turns, getting the bike settled down so he could get on the gas, stay leaned over. And whatever they did with the bike, I thought it paid, obviously. It paid dividends, because that first moto, I don't know how you can go any faster. I know Jett was a little bit off, but Hunter Lawrence, he just keeps getting better. And it's kind of proof and evidence that he's not just down to accept that Jett is just always going to be better than him. He is not satisfied with where he's at, ever.
Folks, to ride a motocross track like that, I know we talk about it all the time. You're probably sick of hearing it, but the angles of a supercross track or a motocross track are so important. And when you have the angles perfect, I mentioned RJ being a four-wheel guy. If any of you watch F1 or NASCAR or anything like that on a road course, if you have your angles wrong, you're not even in the picture. You are so far off. Hunter Lawrence's angles on that motorcycle track was unbelievable. He was going outside, making his own ruts, cutting across the ruts, back to the outside, cutting back in. Like, it was unbelievable. It looked really fun to ride. It looked similar to like a practice track that you've been to 100 times, and you're like, yeah, I know I got to go way out here to then cut back over here to then get over here for this jump. Like, he did that to perfection, and it was just so much fun to watch. It's some of the things that you can't really, like, you want to be, that's when you want to have the telestrator. You know, we practice that a little bit on RDO of like, hey, if you can go over here and then this puts you over there. It's so fun to watch that. And he was better than everybody by far. It wasn't even close this weekend. And it all started with his angles and momentum. But in saying that, you can only really do that from the lead. You can't do that if you're in seventh, because you're blocking the guy behind you, trying to pass the guy in front of you. So good on him for getting the track position, making it happen early. It's kind of having a comfortable, I don't want to say easy day, because it's never easy to win like that, but looked pretty easy for the 96.
Nothing over. I think it's a little bit shocking every time Jett loses. When he's healthy, as long as he doesn't crash or get an insanely terrible start. We're still used to seeing him win, but there was nothing wrong with the ride this weekend. Was it, in your head, was Hunter just had a fantastic weekend and Jett was kind of at the same level he was at Thunder Valley in Hangtown? Or was it more like Jett's off, so Hunter took advantage of that?
No, I think Hunter's closer than we all think. I really believe, and I believe Hunter was searching on the bike a little bit. I think he just went back to his base setting. That is all of our comfort zone. You know exactly what it's going to do off every bump. He went back there and he was 1% or 2% better, and that gets him as good or better than Jett. I do. I think they're so close. And if we look at the history of Hunter Lawrence's career, of course he's had a little bit of a slow play to get to the level he's at, but he's been closer to Jett the past 2 years than we all think. You know, like, of course Jett's been the SMX champ, but he only did it the last 2 laps. Hunter was about to be the SMX world champion. And then also, we don't talk about it enough, Hunter gets to ride and see Jett's every single move. So he's not like this crazy alien to Hunter. It's his little brother. And could you imagine having your little brother be that good and beating you all the time? It's like, to everyone else, Jett seems almost superhuman. Of course, not to his main competitors, but to Hunter, he just seems like he's just a little punk kid to him. You know, it's your little brother that you want to make fun of, or you probably argued with your whole life, and now he's that good on a motorcycle, and he gets to see his every move. He knows exactly his bike setting. I think they're still pretty close on bike settings. And Hunter's unreal, man. I love his slow play, the way they've done it. We've talked about it 100 different times. And now he's one of the best in the world. I still think Jett's better on his certain days. I think we all know that. But, man, with Hunter's starts and the way he rides, this is going to be a dogfight between these two for this championship. I really believe that.
And I think last thing on Hunter, I think that he's reached a level now where he knows in order to win, he doesn't need to do something overly special for him. He doesn't really need to farly outperform his talent level or how fast he is. Like, it could, with where he's at now, I think, like you said, it's closer than we've thought in the past. And gosh, a couple weeks from now, Jett might go out there, go 1-1, win by 20 seconds. But I think Hunter's at a spot now where he just, when he goes out there, he doesn't feel like he needs to do anything super far outside his comfort zone to win. And I think that says a lot with the year that he's had. What do you make of Prado? Where are we at? He came out round 1, was really good, and you kind of had the sense that was the start. Like, that was a good base to build from. Last couple weekends, he's off Jett and Hunter's level. I think he's not. I think at times he's on Deegan's level, maybe a little better, but at times he's not there either. I don't know if he's uncomfortable on the bike. I will say, and shout out our guy Lewis Phillips, Vital MX, watched the interview with him post race, High Point. Loved his attitude, no excuses, not blaming the bike. But yeah, I think I expected Jorge to be a little bit faster. I would have expected him through the races we've had so far to get a whole shot, lead 15 minutes, something like that, a flash of that talent, 2-time world champ. Is this bad? Are we in a bad spot? Or is it just early in the season we're working out the kinks?
Man, it's a great question because obviously Paolo was really good. He practiced there all the time, though. And my mind goes to being a West Coast thing. Like, I really believe that, and of course it's gone this way throughout the years, but prepping and riding on the East Coast is so much different than prepping and riding on the West Coast. Now, you've done both, so you probably, and I've done both as well, but more recent times. I mean, you won the championship training on the West Coast, correct?
So, yes, I trained on the West Coast all the way until High Point.
Okay, then
High Point. But my first, I don't know. I think 2020, the COVID outdoors, my first year on a 450. I think I was in California the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But
so
anyway.
I think you can get it done both ways. But I like that Prado's went back east now. I think it's going to help him. I think the track conditions are a little bit better. I think if your bike setup's off just that little bit, I mean, the difference between setting your bike up for Paula and Lake Elsinore is so much different to setting it up at the Baker's factory or some sand tracks on the East Coast. I think he is going to get better. I do. And a little bit of a slow start. The main thing is the beginning of the races. Of course, we talk about his starts all the time. I would like to see him up front trying to go with Jett and Hunter at the beginning a little bit more. And then it was really clear to me he did not want to get beat by AP.
No.
He did not want to get beat by AP this weekend. So, and Deegan was pretty close to him. I forget the exact timestamps, but Deegan was behind Prado for at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And Prado was, they were kind of matching each other. But then as soon as Deegan got by him, it was like Prado kind of got a little bit deflated. And then AP catches him and passes him, and it was like, oh, it woke him back up. I think if the Deegan pass wakes him up like AP did, I think he could go with Haiden. I think he has that type of speed, that type of talent. I don't think his bike looks that bad. Like, I don't know. I just think Hunter and Jett are so good that they're just better than everyone. And Prado and AP this past weekend and Haiden are kind of like trying to figure out who the best of the rest is. But I do agree with you. I thought he'd be a little bit closer, kind of like Paula. But I think he'll get better as the season goes on, being back east.
He's just got to find a way to be in the top 3 on the start. To do what Hayden's done a couple times, like Haiden did at Thunder Valley in the first moto. He's got to get up there with Jett and Hunter and kind of, once you have an idea of that pace, you can go back during the week and kind of reverse engineer how to get more out of yourself. And of course, he needs the confidence. But like I said, can't fault his attitude. But what I saw in that second moto, Haiden gets by him, and I think it was funny. They were talking about on the broadcast that Jorge's mechanic said, "Break him, like break Haiden," and the other thing happened.
Yeah,
but then, like you said, and shout out Aaron Plessinger. I love seeing the 7 up front, and it has been an unbelievably. He's just had a lot of bad luck.
A challenging year, for sure.
It's been a challenging year, and he rode great. We'll get into that a little bit. But what I saw, once Jorge saw that orange fender, it's like you don't want your credibility with the team to start going the other way. And so I did, where the motivation came from, I don't care. I did like to see Jorge fight like that. But it was kind of funny because AP basically let him by in the first moto. So it's teammate on teammate crime there. But yeah, shout out Aaron Plessinger. He's had an unbelievably tough year. And with that guy, to have such a string of bad luck, you've been around him. And the fans, if you know AP, you know AP. He is who he is. And that is a guy that is not going to compound mistakes with negativity or a bad attitude. So if he's had a year and it's lasted, this string of bad luck lasted this long, I don't think it's self-induced. I think it be like that sometimes. It was good to see the 7 up front. I enjoyed it. Anything else in the 450 class?
One more thing, but I want to thank SK Designs before I get there because it's going to tie into what I'm about to talk about. skda.com. Check them out. Graphics kits, seat covers, new bike, used bikes, all of it. Hunter Lawrence, Jett Lawrence, Ken Roxon winning a championship for them in Supercross. Check them out. Thanks for all their support throughout the year. But the Triumph guys, they're running SKDA graphics. Mikkel Harrop, Jordan Smith, both in the top 10. That was good to see because, look, you want to talk about AP having a challenging year? The entire Triumph team has had a challenging year as well. And it was cool to see them up front. Jordan goes 9-13 for 9th overall. I like that. Had a couple of those in my day where you go like 7-12 for 7th, or you get on the good side of the number. You get on the good side. Jordan Smith was on the good side, and Mikkel Harrop goes 8-8 for 7th. So I just want to shout out those two guys. It's difficult. You don't get a lot of love when you're 5-10. I lived in that space for a long time. You could go 5-5 on the day and really not get mentioned too much because they're talking about the podium guys. And I thought it was a good day for both of them guys. Thought it was something to build off of.
I'm a big Harrop guy. Huge. I don't know what we had him. I think we've had him on RDL the last couple of years. I think we had him on RDL maybe at Birmingham this year.
Yep, we did. Yep.
Just being around him a little bit. I like the guy. Seems like he's got a genuine passion for it. He's stoked to be in America racing with these guys. And what's his program? We're here and we're just doing outdoors?
Yeah, well, I think he goes back to MXGP. I don't think the Triumph 450 was ready for over there or something, or he stayed a little bit longer than he was supposed to. But yeah, he's just a motocross guy, and he'll go back to the GPs for Triumph, I believe next year.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for me in the 450s. Again, was stoked to see AP up front. That was cool.
Yeah. 250 class, before we go there, OGIOpowersports.com. You want a bag, travel bag, backpack, any of that? Check out our code ACJB15 for 15% off your order. I'm traveling today, headed to San Diego. I'm headed to your neck of the woods to do some riding this week. I've got my 9800 packed up, got my carry-on. You know I'm a four-wheel guy, so I got my four-wheeler ready and my backpack all ready to go. If you want to do that, check them out, OGIOpowersports.com. But we've got a little something to talk about here, AC.
Okay.
Two things can be true at once. Two things can be true.
Sign of intelligence right there.
And we're both right. You said there's a chance that Cole Davies could just be that guy. Mm-hmm. He can be that guy.
Yep.
I also said there's a chance that Julien Beaumer could be that guy. Are we both sort of right?
Yeah.
After the weekend?
Well, how about this? So we'll get into Davies. But Juju, Cole, you might want to throw a clip of me talking about Juju from the last couple of weeks so people can get it. So I'm very, very impressed and enthusiastic about his chances, but I got to see it. I got to see it on the East Coast dirt. But what he has done, don't take anything away from what he's done coming back after that injury. I really like what I'm seeing from Juju. I think what he's doing right now, if he can just do that with some flashes of brilliance, I'm sure he'll win a couple motos, get some podiums. But yeah, I took absolutely nothing away from Julien Beaumer. I'm a big Juju guy. Think the guy's awesome.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. Okay. The only thing that I said is I need to see it on the East Coast. I just need to see it. I didn't take anything away coming back from this injury. To me, he's been the surprise of the summer. He has been so solid across the board. And even the way that he rides. I remember watching him SMX Next, I think Anaheim won 2023, and he was fast already, but he had no regard for his life at all. He was wide open. It was, a lot of those kids around that time are a little rough around the edges, but there's this calmness about him right now in the race. The way that he rides, I think before sometimes you see some mistakes and then it's almost like he was trying to make up for the mistakes and it would turn into more. And he's really smoothed out, but I said I needed to see it on the East Coast. And I got a text, 10 minutes after the end of 250 Moto 2, and it was from our boy, Shane Doyle at Converge Media. Converge does Julien's social. Julien took a screenshot of his Maps app being on the East Coast and sent it to Shane and said, show this to AC. And I was like, I love it. Well played.
I love this.
Well played. It's not even necessarily that I was doubting. I was just being real. Like I have to see it on the East Coast before I believe, because once I'm in, I'm all in. I'm all in. Now, Juju, I'm sorry. It was a fantastic race. You deserve your credit. I'm going to need you to back it up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm going to need you to back it up.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Jeez,
I need two more. I need two more.
Oh.
I need two more. And we're there.
I'm sorry, Juju. I'm sorry, but I've been in. And I guess you just got to keep showing it week after week after week for my man AC.
I'll be ready to put all my chips in about September 2028. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing around. No, I thought, again, his riding style, and And to have this much of a transformation after almost a career-ending injury and to be this good, I think in the sport right now, we are talking about it a fair bit, but we probably aren't talking about it enough. That is so difficult to do. And especially where the 250 class is with all these young guys progressing so much. When you're on the couch as a young 250 guy and everyone else is getting better, you have to find a way 6 months, however long he was off the bike. You can't come back. He didn't come back at the same level he left. He came back better. He came back better than he's ever been outdoors. And I joke, and yeah, I'd like to see him back it up on the East Coast, but hell of a start, Juju. Hell of a start.
Hey, Cole, you can pull up some clips of AC doubting him. You can also pull up some clips preseason of me saying there's less than a handful of guys that I think could be indoor, outdoor, and SMX champs.
Word.
I'm doubling down.
Love it.
Julien Beaumer can undoubtedly be that guy.
He's that dude.
He's that dude. He's that dude.
Yeah.
Great job, Juju. That was fun to see. He's a great starter. He's a really good Supercross rider, great technically, and now he's turned into a motocross guy, even on the East Coast, AC, even on the East side.
He's big rut guy. Huge.
Big rut guy. But in saying all this, you said we all need to carve out a path for Cole Davies to potentially be this dominant guy where we show up and it's just a matter of time before Cole Davies goes 1-1 week after week after week. Is this the start of it? Is this the start?
I think so. I really do. Yeah, like I mean, what did I use? Some quantum mechanics, alternate reality type of analogy last week with Cole Davies. But when you have a guy, and he has, through his very short career, of course, excelled so much in Supercross. And then he just really has been hurt. Like, he was hurt last year. He raced a couple outdoors, but so he's still really a rookie outdoors. It's not like he doesn't even have 11 races under his belt, like a full season.
It's first time at these tracks, which is really difficult.
And anytime, to me, there was never a doubt that he was going to be good outdoors. You can't be that talented and that good on a motorcycle, that mentally strong at 17 and 18 years old, and then just not be able to figure out how to go fast outdoors. Like, it's just unrealistic. Like, we knew he was going to be good. We knew he was going to win. My only thing was, it being his rookie season, the only doubt I have in my mind is, for one, he's got to stay healthy and he's got to stay out of trouble. He can't have those races where he crashes twice and gets 15th to win a championship, which I think as a rookie, you're allowed to have some of those days. But if you want to be a rookie champion, you obviously have to transcend that part of the development. You got to just go ahead and skip to year 3 in your development in order to win a championship. But I think mentally, I think out of anyone on the track, he believes the most that he's the best guy consistently across the board. That's what I see with him mentally. And even talking to him year 1, 2025, Supercross, he has this thing, he doesn't overcomplicate things. And I've said this before, but he kind of reminds me of Cooper Webb like that. No BS in his mind. He has that confidence in himself already. And I think in the 250 class with the other guys like Kitchen, Shimoda, all these guys have been trying to get there. And of course they had to deal with Haiden Deegan. But they've been trying to get there for years now to just be that guy. And Cole Davies, kind of a rookie in outdoors, already starting to show signs that he's kind of ready to take over the class. And so I think between Davies, Joe Shimoda, and Levi Kitchen, I think Levi especially, in order for him to win this championship, he's going to have to be better than he's ever been. He can't be even. Yeah, he's going to have to be better than he's ever been to beat Davies, because I think once Davies, I mean, 1-1 first career 1-1 this weekend. But once someone with that type of mental strength gets on a roll, it's very, very difficult to stop that momentum. You agree?
I do agree. And look, if I'm Cole, and I know he still talks to Ben Townley all the time. Townley, great dude, a great teacher of the sport. He was great in his own right, obviously champion. It's going to come down to starts for all these guys. Like if Cole Davies becomes an elite starter, he doesn't lose a championship again on a 250. If you really want to simplify it, if he becomes an elite starter, like a Jett or a Hunter, that's top 3 out of the gate at the drop of a hat every time the gate drops, he doesn't lose a championship. Indoors, out, SMX, I don't care what it is. But if he continues to put himself in bad positions and start 20th and be back there in the pack, bad things happen back there. And honestly, same for Levi. If Levi was an elite starter, I think Levi's the fastest guy in the class. I think if anybody can come from the back, I think he has the most speed. Now, he struggled a little bit this weekend, but I still think Levi Kitchen is the fastest in the motos. I don't know about qualifying and stuff, but in the motos, he's the fastest guy. If he was an elite starter, I would kind of say the same thing about Levi. You could probably say the same thing about Joe Shimoda, but the inconsistency on lap 1 for all these guys is what's getting them. And honestly, Beaumer, I don't have any stats in front of me. Beaumer might have the best average start of all these guys right now, which is why he's had such a great start to the year. So yeah, I agree. I think he can be that guy. It's going to come down to limiting the mistakes. We know what he can do indoors. Now he's proven it outdoors. And going to these tracks for the first time, especially a track like High Point. High Point's a difficult track the first time. Like I said, getting the angles wrong, coming down the hills, it can be a really challenging track.
Yeah.
But Cole's obviously proved that not to be a thing for him. So good ride for Cole Davies. Of course, Beaumer. Joe.
Love Joe. Love Joe.
I love Joe.
He's awesome.
Joe, come on. Come on, Joe.
Hey,
we got to make that pass. We've got to make that pass.
In the first moto, when he was trying to get around Dudney, you go through the start turn, you go down that right. He was on the inside. Dudney kind of closed him out this way.
Yep.
100 times out of 100, you gotta move Dudney out of the way. Mm-hmm. Even if you have in that situation, where you're trying to fit into a tight inside rut like that, I think it's totally in bounds to kind of just throw it up the inside and just make the guy pop out of the rut. But again, like you said, in the second moto, trying to get around Manier, I really don't know what it is. Because he does so many things on a bike that are better than anything I've done. Like he's so talented in the way that he sees the track and the lines. We always talk about his fitness. But I think, for him to win this championship, if you have to point to one thing he's got to do better, he's got to figure out, and he's faster than these guys. Mm-hmm. Like he's faster than the guys that he can't pass. So he's got to figure out how to set these guys up and get by him, because he spends way too much time behind guys. Had he gotten around Manier, and shout out Manier, that was a fantastic ride.
Great day, yeah.
Nothing against, not taking anything away from him. I thought that was fantastic. Very talented. But yeah, Joe, in order to win this championship and kind of establish yourself in this pecking order, if you're Cole Davies or Levi Kitchen and you see Joe behind you, right now, both of those guys know that Joe isn't the best passer. So you can't allow your competition to know that about you. He's got to prove that it's going to be different. And so, I don't know. I think Joe did a lot of great things this weekend. And I think coming off the injuries and just the lack of momentum that he's had this year, I think he's doing a really good job. But yeah, he's got to pass, JB. What do you see there? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I see a couple things. The first thing is obviously the setup in the racecraft. We talk about it in Supercross. Now it's happening in Motocross. Yeah, it's almost like he catches someone and doesn't really think about his pass. I mean, he almost passed Manier before the tunnel jump, like 3 laps in a row. But there's certain times when he's not close enough to make the pass and he still tries to go for it. It's like he needs to play a game with himself, like challenge himself when he catches these guys. Because like you said, he's much faster. It's like he needs to pick 2 spots on the track before he gets there of like, hey, these have been passing spots the last couple of years. These are where I'm going to set these guys up to pass. And be patient, take his time, and then pass them there. Not just like all of a sudden, oh, I think I'm close enough and make the pass. It's kind of standard racecraft that you would expect from a guy like Joe Shimoda because he's so great on a motorcycle to be good at. But maybe we've taken it for granted to, watching elite guys for so many years make these passes. And just stuck behind him for too long, gets out of his rhythm, and he goes 3-4 on the day. He probably should have the points lead right now. He probably should have, gotten better than a 3-4. It's been a little bit of a slow start to the year. I still think he's one of the favorites for this championship, even with the start, because he's still in it, obviously. But he's got to be better off the starts. He's clearly got the speed. He's clearly got the fitness. He's maybe I don't know if you call it the fittest guy in the class, but like he does not get tired. We've talked about it time and time again. But yeah, I mean, the Manier thing really stood out to me of like,
Yeah.
man, you've got to make that happen. You just have to.
So we're good at pointing out little weaknesses on this podcast. If you're Coach Justin Braden, knowing what you know, you don't have a lot of inside knowledge as to what Joe does. But what would you do? I remember as an amateur, I got a lot of hole shots and I won a lot of races, but I didn't really battle with people often because I got good starts. And I forget, I went to a race, got a bad start, couldn't pass anybody. And I remember my dad, I had a riding partner that was on a 250 at the time. I was on an 80. And we made this little turn track, like in somebody's yard. And he sent him behind me, and he just told him just to take me out. every time. Every time he's going to pass me, just take me out. And then eventually I started to learn how to pass people, essentially. But what would you do? How do you fix that? What would you say?
Well, 2 things. The first thing is I would really focus on with the Honda HRC guys on my start, so I don't have to worry about racecraft. I can
Yeah.
I can use my
That's
racecraft to figuring out the track because he's clearly got the speed, the fitness, everything to be a champion. And I remember a couple of years ago, he was struggling with starts. They figured something out, and then he started getting great starts. So I don't know what they did then. They need to go back to that, figure something out with the starts. If he can start top 3 and not have to worry about racecraft on slower guys, then he's going to be on the podium winning every single weekend. So you start there. Of course, that's not super realistic. You're going to have to pass some people here and there. There's a lot of great starters and great motorcycles in this class. I would honestly pick out 2 or 3 spots on the track. I'd go there on Friday, and I would study film from the past year of like, hey, these are the few passing spots. This is your strength. This is where you're going to be faster. So these 3 or 4 corners leading up to this passing spot, let's make sure we nail those and stay close to the guy. And then boom, make it happen. And don't just do a 80% effort pass. We know that Joe can be aggressive. He's been aggressive before. And as soon as you catch a slower rider, I would make a little bit of a game in Joe's mind of you've got a lap to pass this guy. And you set him up in these 3 key passing areas that we've talked about, and you make it happen instead of following him around for 3 or 4 laps and it ruins his race. So, I mean, that's what I would do. I'd be studying film on passing points. It's no different than any other form of racing. You can't just wing these passes here and there. Of course, if they make a mistake, you can, but these guys are too fast right now. You've got to set them up. You've got to pick your spots, and I would pick out 2 or 3, 4 spots on each of these tracks coming up where I think there's passing zones and go from there.
I was really bummed. Well, I was really bummed to see Hammaker go down like that.
Yeah.
And I'll send Cole the video so he can put it in here so you guys can watch. I immediately thought about Salt Lake City. Do you remember the track? Salt Lake City 2018. 2 sets of whoops, back to back. left-hander, finish line, right-hander. You did a little double into like some sand rollers. And I had tried the new Renthal black grips that are like sticky.
Oh, yeah.
And I hit the backside of the double, and I didn't realize how much traction I was going to get. And I seriously went full Meek Mill 12 o'clock in the sand. So I've done that before. I didn't end up going down. But it looks like he just pulled his shoulder right out of the socket. Gosh. It sucks. It sucks for Seth. Hopefully it's not. I think a shoulder, anytime a shoulder comes out of the socket, you want to get it back in the socket as quick as possible. The longer it's out, the more damage it's going to do to the rotator cuff, to the labrum. I'm not sure how quick they were able to get it back in.
Did it come out for sure?
I don't know for sure. This is just what I'm hearing on social media.
Okay. Yeah.
And based off his aneurysm, kind of how he was moving his shoulder around after that, and that's what it looked like. He caught a lot of gas, a lot of traction on the backside. Bike went out this way, and it just yanked it. And it gave me PTSD because every time my shoulders come out of the socket, it's come out that way, being pulled out the front like that until I got the bilateral Latarjet procedures here. It really affects my golf game. But, yeah, it was a bummer to see Seth go down because I don't know, he's always in it. He's the best he's ever been in outdoors. And just a silly mistake puts him down like that. Sucks.
Yeah, put himself in a good position. Home race for him. Grew up not far from there. All of it points to having a great day. Unfortunately, that happens. But hopefully with a weekend off, he can do some therapy. And he's still in this thing. If he can come back and have some 1-1s with the inconsistency from everyone else so far, he's definitely still in it. It's just a matter of how bad is the injury, how quick can he get back. But yeah, I mean, look. One of our favorite guys. We've said it multiple times. You can never question his attitude, his effort, all the above. He'd be one of our first calls. If you're a team manager, man, I'd love to have Seth Hammaker on my team. So get well soon, Seth.
Got to give a shout out to the ladies real quick. The WMX series so far this year has been fantastic.
It has been good.
I love watching it. Charlie Cannon got her first W this weekend. Lala Turner, who to me, so impressive on a bike. Like even watching her hit the kind of the roller section after the start this weekend, it's such an awkward section that can make guys like James Stewart, Jett Lawrence, the best guys in the world. It makes them look sometimes uncomfortable, just the angle of it, how deep the ruts are there. You're kind of turning at the same time. Watching her go through there, I was like super impressed with her bike skill. But she went down at the end. I think she was sick. Charlie Cannon's able to get the overall. But I just wanted to give a shout out to the ladies because the season so far has been – I've been locked in. It's
I love that they've been showing the second motos on Peacock. Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun to watch. SmartTopSpaCovers.com. It's summertime, but if you're over 40 like me, you still like to get in the hot tub. Get a Smart Top Spa cover for yours. Also, firepowerparts.com. It's riding season. I've been doing some riding. I don't know about you, AC, but I've been hitting up firepowerparts.com. Get some lightweight lithium batteries, controls, wheels, stands, basically anything for your motorcycle. Check them out, firepowerparts.com. I mentioned I'm coming out your way. I'm riding Cahuilla Creek this week. I have not rode Cahuilla Creek it has been since maybe 2009. So
I had a day out there in 2021, the week before the first national, that I don't know if it was perfectly flat track, very unrealistic, but I'm not sure I've ever gone faster for 30+2 in my life. And I think I could be wrong, but I do think that there is a bronze statue out there of me in 2021, like full likeness, it's whatever, I appreciate it. It's a city funded project.
I'll take a selfie with it.
Anyway, yeah, you'll have a good time out there. I need to go on firepower.com and buy myself a practice bike mechanic. That's where I'm at.
I might need to get one too. So can we share one? Can you
do it.
To the East Coast? Because I'm not coming west.
It's coming at some point.
Cole, what do we have for some fan questions here today?
All right, so first up, we got NL Mac. He asks, what's up with Hymas, and does he keep his ride at HRC?
Oh, man. I mean, that's a great question.
What do you think, Mr. Honda?
Is what?
What do you think, Mr. Honda?
I mean, you got to keep him. You've got to keep him based off potential.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I'm Honda, I'm re-signing him heavily bonused. It's a big bonus structure. Of course, you give him a good base salary, but there's going to be a lot of upside if you achieve certain things. And look, he's got the ability. He's got the motorcycle. I really don't know what's going on. He was up front there for a little bit and didn't stay there. He looked a little timid to me entering the turns. He looked like he didn't know what the motorcycle was going to do. Exiting the turns, he didn't have a lot of corner speed. He didn't look like the Chance Hymas that we've grown to know and love, and the speed and all that. He just has not looked good really all year long. He hasn't.
I remember I missed all of and I always like to relate things to my experience because I think there's nothing worse than a hypocrite. So I like to give you guys some background in my experience, not because I like talking about myself, but just to let you guys know I get it. I missed Supercross with injury in 2015 and 2016. I raced outdoors. I raced like 4 outdoors in 2015. 2016, I did the full season with not a lot of bike time. There's not a lot of momentum. It's kind of doing the same thing Chance is trying to do. I had won races, not outdoors yet, but I won races in Supercross. I had potential. I had speed. But I was always getting hurt over and over and over again. And I think it took me a while. I think back to that summer of 2016 when I'm trying to rebuild myself. And when you get hurt so much, it's like it makes you kind of second guess everything you're doing. My goal is to go out there and try to start riding the bike a different way. There was obviously something about my technique. I had grown a lot. There's something about my technique that kept putting me on the ground. So I kind of had that in the back of my mind all season. It's like, I cannot get hurt again. If I get hurt again, I'm going to be working at McDonald's. I can't do that. And so I think it's hard. It's hard to get back to that same level of confidence when these bad things keep happening. And I think that's what I'm seeing a little bit with Chance right now. I think he's shown so much speed, so much talent, so much potential. But I think at this point, I wouldn't have no problem with him being a 5 to 10 guy the rest of the year with some flashes of top 5, maybe a couple podiums towards the end of the year. I think he just needs to try to gather a little momentum. Kind of what we were talking about with Austin Faulkner last year a little bit. Little different circumstance. Chance is younger. He's got time. Honda is going to re-sign him, I think. But yeah, that's what I think about. I think about my own experience and being in those spots. And it is a difficult thing to navigate as a young rider. And I think we're both rooting for him. Yeah,
Chance, great kid, great family, has tons of potential. And I think look, if he's 5 to 10 every week, I don't even think we're having this discussion.
No, I don't either. It's
outside the top 10.
13th, 14th.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah. So I'm with you. Keep building. The thing is that this starts to put it in such a bad position. If he could start up front and look, a 7.5 on the day, we're not even talking about it. Honda's probably not even having discussions with him about it because that's a good rebuilding year.
It is.
But the potential's high, man. We've seen it. Gosh, he's so good.
Yeah.
All right, so just because we were talking a little bit about weight with you, JB, before the show, H-Dog asked, how much does body weight factor into being able to put the power to the ground on a 450 versus a 250?
Well, weight on a 250 is a big deal. I mean, when you think about just straight up horsepower numbers, what is it, AC? How many
8
pounds?
pounds.
8 pounds per horsepower. When you won your championship, you were definitely on the heavy side. It'd be interesting to look at heaviest guys to win a 250 national championship. Were you 165 or 170?
I think I was. I always fluctuated a fair bit, but I was like 170 to 176 or so.
Okay.
Right in there. So pretty, especially going against those star bikes, dude. It was not easy.
That's impressive. That's really impressive. So Look, it matters more on a 250 for sure. The lighter you are, I mean, it's similar to cycling. We got any cycling fans out there? The lighter you are, the better it's going to be. As far as a 450, I honestly don't think there's much to it. I don't. Look, I mean, we've had really light, small guys win. We've had bigger, heavy, muscular guys win. You think about Tomac and Sexton, bigger guys, strong guys. Jett's not that big. You think about RC in his day. James, not that big of a dude, strong, but not that big. RV, same thing.
Dungy, tall and lanky.
Tall and lanky. There's just that's the unique thing about our sport is doesn't really matter your body type or size. It just matters how fast you are. Of course, you need to be lean, and when you talk about like VO2 max numbers, we could go into that. But as far as just being heavy or more traction or lighter, less traction, I don't think there's much to that. Control with your hand.
I think in the 250 class, it's way more of a discussion. In the 450 class, the only thing that you can really be in the 450 class is too weak, not strong enough for the bike. But all those guys, I mean, Cooper Webb, all the kind of shorter dudes, they're normally have a little bit more of like a stocky build. They're strong as hell. So yeah, you got to have a certain level of strength there. And I think in the 250 class, guys like Kitchen, starts are harder, and also like bearing the bike in the turns. When you're a big guy on a 250 outdoors, you have to be extremely light on the bike, and you got to be a little crafty with your lines.
All right, so last one. Rob Keto 70 asks, can you see animosity building up between the brothers?
Nah. Between Jett and Hunter?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't see it. I mean, I guess I did see it. What was it, after the first moto this weekend? It wasn't the usual bro down when they sat down in their chairs. Like, there wasn't a lot of interaction right there, so maybe that's what he's reading into a little bit. But I think, I don't know, the way that Dazzy and those guys have that whole program set up, I think they're just disciplined about focusing on the right things. And typically that's your process, being your best. I think there will always be moments of like irritation or frustration, but that's just sport in general. I don't think that I think they have a strong bond, and I think they work together really well so far.
Yeah, everything Adam said right there. I don't think there's any animosity. I actually think they're genuinely happy for each other. And even with Hunter beating Jett, I think Jett's genuinely happy for Hunter. And if he wins this championship, I think he'd be happy for him. So, yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be something that they're going to look back on when they're 40 years old and just smile. Like, what a cool moment for the entire family, for Honda, for everybody. I mean, you have two brothers, the two best in the world right now. Like, that's crazy. You want to enjoy it in the moment probably more than you can because there's such competitors. But what a time. What a time to be the Lawrence family. I don't think there's anything there. I think they just need to smile and enjoy it, and they're going 1-2, man, every week.
I agree. And then even in the race this weekend, like you said, I think when Jett sees Hunter riding that well, I don't think there's this, oh my gosh, I can't let Hunter beat me.
No.
At all. I think they're grounded, doing the right things.
I actually think it's quite opposite.
Yeah, right.
I actually think Jett's like okay with Hunter winning at certain days. When Jett's just not on, like this past weekend, I think he's totally fine to.
It's just
cool, man. Hunter, he's on it. Tip the cap. Yep.
I agree.
Weekend off. AC, the first weekend off.
Oh,
motocross season.
I'm going to Cancun, brother.
Wow.
Haven't been on vacation in 7 years.
What do you mean? I just saw some pictures of you and your missus look like you're on vacation.
We were in Palm Springs. There's some crazy sick spa up there. We got a little Airbnb on Tuesday night. It was unbelievable, this place. Insane. But yeah, I'm going to Cancun with my mom and her husband. It's gonna be a good time, dude. I'm gonna have some cocktails, enjoy myself, maybe come back a little I might need a 34 waist when I get back to American soil. But enjoy California, JB. I'm going to need a raw lap on IG at Uekahia. That's what the fans want. That's what the fans want.
You know what? I get to ride the new 2027 Honda 450 Works Edition. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
You don't have a two-stroke though. Wait till I get on that. Wait till I get on that 327, dude. It's over.
I do have a 2002 CR250. So anytime you want to bring that 327, let's go. Head to head.
Oh, we just came up with this is going to be great content for this show. Two-stroke battle. I'm all in. But everyone, enjoy your weekend off. Happy late Father's Day to all the dads out there. We appreciate you. Have a great week. We'll see you soon.
See y'all.